Hello and welcome. Today we're going to talk about the Minolta x-700. So the x-700 was introduced in 1981 and was made until 1999. So this camera was made for about 20 years, which is a really long time. And this is one of the most sold Minolta cameras of all time. This was, you can call it the last SLR with a manual focus from Minolta. After this camera, I switched to making autofocus SLRs in cameras. Okay, so starting at the top. Here is your film rewind lever, a standard one. Under that you have your ASA settings here, ranging from 25 to 1600. To change that, you just lift up this outer dial and rotate. Here you have your exposure compensation, ranging from 2 steps up and down. So to change that, you just press this small button here and just rotate the dial. Okay, moving on. Here you have your flash hot shoe. Here is your shutter dial with speeds ranging from 1/1000 to bulb mode. You also have program mode. What program mode does is it sets the shutter speed and the aperture on lenses that are compatible. I don't think this one is, because it's supposed to have like a green mark here, which I can go get. Okay, I went ahead and got this. This is a MD zoom lens from Minolta, and as you can see here, the largest aperture, which is 22 on this camera, is green. So it means this lens is compatible with the program mode. And this is a MD lens, and I don't know, this is a MC, yeah. So I'm not completely sure, but I think the MC lenses came before the MDs, which would make sense. So to use program mode, you put it to the highest aperture, which is 22 in this camera, and then the camera will set aperture and shutter speed for you. And then I also have aperture priority, but to get out of program mode, you see it's locked here. You have to press this small button right here, like that. Now you're in aperture mode. What that does is you put the aperture to what you want. So let's say you want to use f4. Then the computer inside the camera sets the shutter speed based on what aperture you have. And the same thing here, you can't get out of aperture mode without using this unlock button. And there you go. Shutter button. And I can show you right here, if you can see that. Here's your switch. Turn the camera on or off, or on with beeping. So as you can see, if you can advance the shutter here. Let's do 116 and 1/1000. So the camera is gonna beep because telling you it's too dark. So then what you can do is you can lower the shutter speed. It's still too dark, and lower the aperture. And now it's not dark anymore. And next to that, here you have, I think this is your film meter. I've seen some cameras with them. Like basically it becomes red the more film you shoot, to basically tell you that this film is soon full. Next to that you have your frame counter window and your standard shutter advance lever. Let's turn this off. Okay, moving to the front. Here you have your, let's see, if you take this dial or switch up, you have self timer, and I can just show you real fast. What it's gonna do is it's gonna, wait, it's not, the camera's off. You have to have the camera on, of course. As you can see now, the camera blinks, and it's gonna blink faster and faster when it's about to take the picture. and it's around 10 seconds. Make sure when you're using the self-timing camera, you have to toggle it off, because I've forgotten this on a couple of times when I use this camera, and you stand there, you take a picture and like, oh, it doesn't work, and it blinks and then it takes a picture and your frame is ruined. So you have to take this one off. If you go down instead, this is your exposure lock. So let's say you're exposing for the highlights. You know, you expose, you press this down, you get your exposure readings. Then you can just hold this one down to lock the exposure, then to frame different and take the picture. It locks the exposure when you're using, of course, these modes. So yeah, that's a very neat feature. Okay, moving on. Here is your flash sync port. Your lens standard. Here is your lens release mount, or lens release button. Is press it in and twist, and it's off. Pretty standard. Bayonet mount. In here, nothing special. Your mirror. To put the lens back on, simply align the red dots with each other and twist. It locks into place. Here you have what I think is your cable shutter release. So you can screw in a cable shutter in there. It looks like it anyways, I'm pretty sure. Here you have your depth of field preview. Basically stop down the aperture. Yeah, that's the front. Okay, let's go to under here. Under the camera, you have this. I think this is a port to when you're using a motor drive or a connection, because this camera has motor drives, of course. This is your battery compartment, which I can just show you how to open. It's pretty standard. Grab yourself a coin or something like that, and rotate this. This one already has batteries inside. As you can see, it takes two LR44 batteries, or SR44, and to put them in, you get a picture here. You see positive side up, they both go in, like that. Then you put it back in the camera, and just screw it back. There you go. And next to that is your tripod socket. Film release. Next to that is your tripod socket. And here you have your film rewind button. And that's basically the underside of the camera. Now let's go to the back. On the back, pretty standard. You have your DIN to ASA conversion here. And you can also put your film tabs in here to remind you what film you're using. To open the back, you pull this rewind lever up. You see it swings open. Inside here, it's pretty regular. Guide rails, you have your pressure plate, and yeah, that's about it. Also, I can show you how to load film to this camera. Let's see, I have film here. Don't worry, this film is already exposed and not from me, it's really old, so I'm not ruining the film. What you're gonna do is put in the spool here, lock in place, I like to do anyways. Then feed it into these slits here, then advance. Let's see, yes, that's again. And you can see the film is on the spool. I can close the camera, and you can start advancing the film. And now you see it's on 1. That means you're ready to take your first exposure. When you're done shooting the film, also, I don't know if you can see it, but right there is a small red marking, and I think it's because of the film, like I said before. Okay, to rewind the film, press this button down and simply rewind. Now I heard tension break loose, so now I'm gonna open up the back here, and I just caught it in time. What you're gonna do when you're shooting your film is you're gonna rewind it all the way, so this way it goes away. But since I'm using this, I'm gonna let it be there. Okay, so that's basically it for the functions. I can also just mention that the viewfinder here, which I can, let's see if I can show you how it looks inside. Let's see. Okay, so as you can see, it shows 1/15 of a second. If I block it, it shows 8, and then so yeah, that's how the light meter works, this camera. And I can just mention that the viewfinder this camera has about 95% coverage. Basically what that means is that what you see in the viewfinder is 95% of what you're gonna get on the film. Okay, so now let's go get into the camera score. Okay, so this camera, because I actually had some trouble with it when I was in Norway a couple of years ago. This camera actually broke down on me. I think it was because when up in the mountains where we were, it was really humid that day, and I think the electronics in this camera got damp or something, so it just stopped completely out of nowhere. I changed the batteries and then tried everything like that. Still didn't work. But when we got down from the mountain, like a couple of days passed by, it just started working again, magically. So yeah, I'm gonna give my example 6 out of 10. But for the review, because you know most cameras not like this camera, I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10 because I still feel the build quality. You know, it's Minolta. They always build the cameras great, I think, or in my opinion. So everything feels, you know, feels compact, feels good, feels solid. All the buttons and dials. Yeah, so good build quality in general. Price-wise, these cameras are, I would say, a bit on the expensive side for what they are, or not for what they are, but yeah. I think you're getting a lot of camera for the money when you buy this camera, because I think I got mine for like 70 euro or something, and I also got this lens in that price, and I think that's a pretty good investment, especially if you're starting film, because these modes, the program mode, the aperture mode, I think they're really good when you're a beginner in film photography. And from what I've seen so far, they work pretty great. I can show you some pictures I took in Norway when this camera worked. And as you can see, it takes great photos. The lenses are sharp and the exposures are good. So price-wise, I'm gonna give this a 8 out of 10. And then feel. As in many Minoltas, the feel is really good. I just love Minoltas because they always feels great, in my opinion. The first camera I ever owned was the Minolta SRT 3R3. I think I made a video of that a couple years ago. And yeah, the feel holds up still. This is a bit more plasticky. Or it is more plasticky because it's plastic. It's not full metal like other cameras, so it's a bit lighter and it feels less like chunky in your hands, which is sometimes nice, like when you're out in the street when I have like a light camera. But it's the feel is not as good as like one of the older ones, in my opinion, but it still feels great. So in feel, I'm gonna give this one a 8 out of 10. And yeah, I think that was it. Thanks for watching.